Spoiler alert, okay? That whole family dynamic pissed me off so much. Oh yeah, it's because I'm a people pleaser. What? Are you okay? What's wrong? Why won't you open up? Why are you not talking? Why are you not talking? Ugh, my dad's dead. Later, it turns out Mook's a little bit of a, little cray. Oh, okay, it was the Russians. Okay. It was an artistic choice. I guess I'll leave it at that. Hi guys, it's Rose and welcome back to Cheap Lazy Vegan and another mukbang. Today you're watching another episode of Munching Mondays, which is my mukbang series. Mukbang is an eating show, so we are going to eat together and we are going to chat. So if that is your thing, then don't forget to thumbs up this video and subscribe to my channel. I'm so excited because I got some Thai food, so let's open this up, okay? Ooh, we got some pad Thai up in here. So I got a pad Thai with tofu, no egg. And I did ask them to make it vegan, so it is vegan, yes. And this one is a red curry. Ooh, some red curry with tofu. And yes, it is vegan. So make sure you ask with red curries and stuff. And like with Thai food, sometimes they use fish sauce. And then we got pad Thai right here. Woo! Wow, it looks kind of fancy. Okay, guys, we are back with another mukbang. We're gonna eat Thai food because I wanted to talk about Season 3 of White Lotus that is featured in Thailand, okay? There's so many thoughts running through my mind and I have to talk about it today. So I thought, what better way to discuss it than with some Thai food? Because I love Thai food. It's one of my favorite cuisines in the world. So why not? My mouth is watering though, so we're gonna have to take our first bite, okay? We got here my favorite pad Thai. Might need to get some sriracha because I got an addiction, Lord knows, okay? Oof. Let's have a bite of this lovely pad Thai. I love Thai food. Look at this. Oh, pad Thai. First bite. Cheers. This one's a little sweet for my preference, but it's still pretty good. I actually got this from kind of like a fast food Thai place because I had a coupon. In this economy, guys, you gotta use a coupon. Love me some tofu. I'm already in heaven. Now, let's try this red curry with coconut rice. Ooh, look at that piece of tofu. This is what I love about Asian food. Like, we are not afraid to use tofu, my friends, and tofu is the bomb, okay? Carrot and bamboo shoot. Guys, have you guys seen White Lotus Season 3? I have so many thoughts. So first of all, this video will have spoilers, okay? If you have not watched it yet, I have pad Thai here already and I keep adding more. If you haven't watched it yet, there's gonna be spoilers here, okay? So I have warned you now, okay? Spoiler alert, okay? Do not come crying to me. But if you are a fan of White Lotus, chances are you have watched Season 3. And this is the most divisive season they've had for the White Lotus. And I can see why. I just have so many thoughts and I'm like, where do I put my thoughts? I'm gonna put them in a mukbang. Okay. Noodles. So first of all, let me just preface this by saying I'm a big fan of White Lotus since season 1. I was obsessed with season 1. I was obsessed with season 2. And I watched season 1 and 2 definitely more than once. Okay, I watched each of them at least twice, if not more. Love the series. I think it's a brilliant series. I loved it. So I was very excited for season 3. Now I feel like with this season, there's some people that think this is like the best season, and the rest of us that think either meh or I hated this season. I am in the meh category, closer to I hated. No, I don't think I want to say I hated it, but I do want to say it is not the White Lotus I remember. Okay, so much to unpack before you dislike this video. Just hear me out, okay? Why is Thai food so good? Oh my God, I have notes. Where's my notes? I gotta get my notes. So I have notes. I have made notes because I'm like, I want to make sure I remember what I'm going to say. Okay, let's see here. So first of all, just overall, I felt, and again, guys, okay, before I even jump in, okay, I need to let you know that you are allowed to have your own opinion, and it does not have to be the same as my opinion on a show, okay? This is an artistic piece. We are allowed to critique it. We're allowed to like it. We're allowed to not like it. We're allowed to have different opinions on it. We're all gonna be fine, okay? We can still sit around and like each other. We don't have to not like each other, okay? So I just want to say that. So I respect your opinion. If you like it, I'm glad you liked it, okay? I am. Personally, for me, I think it was definitely the worst season thus far, okay? Oh, why is Thai food so good? Coke Zero. So, first reason I did not like it as much as the other seasons, I did kind of like it at the end, but not really. And then I didn't like the way that they finished it. Anyway, let's get into it. Oh, so good. So when I watched seasons 1 and season 2, I was immediately hooked. I was immediately hooked. I enjoyed it right away from episode 1. I was like, what is this show? It is very strange. I love it. So I liked it right away. I thought it was hilarious right away. I thought it really just embodied that dark comedy sort of genre. So I really liked it. Now, when I started watching season 3, I thought the first episode was so boring, okay? And I feel like I'm being gaslit, okay? A lot of White Lotus fans are coming after people that are saying that it was boring, especially in comparison to the other seasons. We were like, nothing is happening. Like, what is going on? Which I think are very valid. And they're like, well, it's White Lotus. Have you never seen White Lotus? It's supposed to be a slow burn. I'm like, since when? That's news to me. What do you mean it's supposed to be a slow burn? That's just not true. So much happens. Like, yeah, sometimes things might happen that might be a little random in the beginning, but to pretend that nothing happens in the beginning of White Lotus in any other season is just preposterous, okay? And to prove myself, I actually went ahead and I rewatched the first episode of all seasons. After I finished season 3, I was like, am I like losing my mind here? Because everyone on the internet was like, oh my God, this is the whole point of White Lotus. It's supposed to be just like watching rich people at like a fancy resort and not much is supposed to happen, especially in the beginning. And I was like, that's not how I remember it. So I rewatched season 1, episode 1, season 2, episode 1, and I even watched season 3, episode 1 again. I put myself through that again so I could see if I was going crazy or not. And guys, so much more happens in the first episode. It hooks you right in the first episode of seasons 1 and 2. And unfortunately, in my opinion, season 3 just did not do that for me, okay? Even if you think season 3 was the best, and even if you thought the first episode wasn't boring, we can at least acknowledge that there were differences, okay, in the style and the way that they did season 3 that were different from the last 2 seasons. So good. So, first of all, I think one of the main differences for me was the lack of comedy, okay? The first 2 seasons, there was much more, and again, this could have just been a style choice. Maybe he wanted to be more serious, but for me, I thought it was just flat, okay? Especially in the first episode. I think the first 2-3 episodes, I was like, oh my God, like it was hard to get through, okay? Because there was a lack of comedy, but it's almost like they were trying kind of to be funny, but I didn't think it was that funny, and it could just be a difference in our comedy styles if you thought it was hilarious, but I didn't think it was very funny. I thought it was just very awkward. The other seasons, it was a more believable dialogue. This season, it felt almost forced and fake to me. So I didn't like the kind of lack of comedy. And I know that people like love the Victoria Ratcliffe character. The woman, what's her name? Like, I actually didn't know who this was. Like, am I living under a rock? Parker Posey or something? That's the actress's name. And a lot of people found her to be really funny. I personally didn't find her that funny. Okay, it's just my personal, comedy, but people seem to think she's hilarious. Like, I thought her accent and her demeanor was just a little too acting-like. Like, it wasn't believable to me as a character. That's just a personal kind of preference. I didn't find her to be that funny. I did find her a bit more funny kind of toward the end. But in the beginning, I was kind of shocked when people were like, oh my gosh, she's hilarious. I was like, really? Okay. I guess we have different opinions. Anyway, so the acting, especially in the very beginning, yeah, just very dry. And also the scenes, like, again, I noticed this on my second watch of the first episodes. The scenes were much more fast paced in the first 2 seasons. And again, that's probably a style choice or whatever. The third season, the episode was just, it wasn't as fast paced. It was just like a long, elongated sort of scene, but like nothing really happens, and it doesn't really build tension either. So you're just kind of left being like, there's literally nothing happening. And I know some people love the music of this season. Personally, I thought they were adding in a lot of loud, obnoxious music to kind of force an exciting scenario or to build tension in an environment and in a scene that just did not have tension on its own. Like, it's like the music was added to like try to build up this tension and excitement, and I was like, literally nothing's happening but like loud music, okay? I just did not enjoy that style, okay? I did not enjoy that sort of thing. So everyone's saying like it's supposed to be a slow burn, it's supposed to be a slow burn. Again, I just disagree that, every season before this was a slow burn, because I disagree, because if you actually watch seasons 1 and 2 again, like you will see the difference. Season 1, for example, in the very first episode, you know what happens? Okay. Already, that lady that works at the hotel, it's like her first day at the hotel. We find out she's pregnant in secret. Her water breaks in the lobby. And I think in the first episode, she starts having a baby in the hotel. So already there's like all this craziness in the show. And then we also have the introduction of the storyline of the really annoying like jock dude that is on his honeymoon, and he cannot let go of this room that he was given that isn't as nice as the one that he thought he had booked or something. We already get introduced to that storyline and how like entitled and annoying he is, and how much he can't enjoy his vacation because he's in like a different suite than the one that he originally thought he was gonna be in. We also get a full frontal shot of the dad's, the rich family that comes with like the daughter and the son, and the daughter brings her friend. The dad thinks he has testicular cancer, so he like literally shows his balls to his wife. We get a lot of action in the first episode. Okay, that's first episode. Season 2, we get the introduction of what happens in season 2? Let me think. Also, I know a lot of people are like blaming the fact that there's no Jennifer Coolidge, which I do think plays, you know, a factor into maybe like the lack of comedy or whatever. But I don't think that's the only reason why some people are disappointed with this season. I really don't, because for me, that wasn't the main reason. But yeah, so the second season, what happens in the second season in the first episode? Firstly, we already see that there's issues with Tanya and her marriage. Greg is just like a complete douche. We also see the dynamic between the two couples that already starts, where you see the tension between Parker and the douchey guy, I can't remember. And there's already like this sexual tension / hatred amongst each other. You see the guy like literally changing and getting naked in front of Harper in the room, but when they're by themselves. So we already see that dynamic. We also see the dynamic in the 3 generation dudes, the grandpa, the dad, and the son. And you see that dynamic. And you also find out the dad called the prostitute to his room. So they already have this whole prostitute scenario. Like, there's a lot that happens. Oh, and you also have the guy that works as a pianist at the hotel. He's like asking one of the girls like how much for sex or whatever. So we're introduced to a lot of different conflicts and scenarios and all these things from episode 1. Season 3, literally very little happens, okay? You get introduced to the people. You can kind of see that there's a little bit of tension between the 3 girls, not too much. So you see that. And then you also see Chelsea and Rick, and like you can see that Rick is a miserable old man while Chelsea is all like, you know, trying to cheer him up. But nothing really happens much. Belinda like gets to the hotel, meets Porn Chai. That's basically it. That's the storyline there in that first episode. You're introduced to Mook and what's his face? Security guard man. Mook and security guard man. You can clearly tell security guard man has a crush on Mook. Not much happens there. You're introduced to the rich family where the dad is like a, you know, a white collar criminal. Nothing really happens there. There's like a scene where Lachlan's like trying to decide where to go, to the pool or with his sister to the temple. And there's like a whole scene where he's like trying to decide where to go. And I'm like, why is this even in here? Anyway, whatever. Not much is introduced, very little conflict. Tension is introduced in this first episode. And I remember like the first, again, 2 or 3 episodes, I was like, oh my God, this is so boring. Like I can't get through this. And they kept repeating the same thing over and over again. Like it wasn't just a slow burn. It was like the repetitiveness of every aspect. What's his face? Tim, who is the white collar criminal, finds out after episode 1, I think, he finds out that he's like basically in huge trouble because he was like doing all kinds of illegal shit, okay? And then it's basically him freaking out for the next, like for literally the remainder of the season. It's all just him freaking out, stealing his wife's pills, taking the pills. And for like literally 7 episodes, it's just him being high as fuck and also just, you know, fantasizing about killing his family. And he has like 2 different dreams about killing his family. And then they're like, psych, it was just a dream. I hate when shows do that. Like maybe 1 scene of that is okay, but twice, I think it was twice, where he's like fantasizing or dreaming about killing his family. And I'm like, okay, we get it. You want to kill your family because you want to escape your situation. But like, can we have something happen, please? Like I almost wish that the whole family would have died at the end there when he tried to feed them the pina coladas. I was like, okay, at least we have something happening. But then again, they were like, psych, nothing's gonna happen. And then finally, we're like, okay, listen, obviously these are characters, so I don't really care if they live or die, right? Because they're not actually real people. But for the storyline, I was like, okay, first of all, you already did the whole, oh, it was just a dream thing like twice. Then you had him planning this whole like killing my family scenario and then like pour it in to the cup, give it to all of them, and then they're all like, oh, no, never mind. Once again, by the way, none of them got sick, even though they had a few sips. So I'm like, why did they not get sick? Anyways, and then we have Lachlan drinking the entire fucking smoothie, and then he like almost dies, and once again, they're like, psych! He saw a bunch of monks, and then now he's alive. Maybe there's a deeper meaning, but like, I don't know. It was not very satisfactory watch for me. That whole family dynamic pissed me off so much. I will say, I feel like I've been talking too much crap, so let me say some things I liked about this season. Okay. Few storylines that I did like, even though I hated that whole family, how they handled the whole storylines. The one storyline I did like, which felt very White Lotus-esque, was the whole storyline with Piper. So Piper brings the whole family here. She like brought them all here for some kind of, what was it, like a dissertation, okay? So clearly she's already in a massive state of privilege where she's like, oh my God, I'm gonna like do this dissertation. So let me bring my whole family here. And then she didn't even like book a time with the main guy, the monk or whatever. And clearly you can tell that she is the character in this season that feels like she's morally superior to, you know, her family, for example, and other material things in life. And, you know, you can tell this by in so many different ways. And then she wants to go live in this temple and be like a Buddhist for a year. And then, of course, later on, after she spends a night at the temple, she realizes, actually, no, she loves the air conditioning. She doesn't like the food, which I'm like, girl, you are in Thailand. It must be delicious. So she realizes all of these things, that she is just as shallow and not as deep as she thought she was. And she still likes these like very, you know, material things that she thought she was above. I did like her storyline and the way that they wrapped that one up. So that felt very much like similar to the storyline of in season 2, I think was his name like Alfie? The son of like the dad that likes the prostitutes. So he, like the whole time, he's acting like he's so much better than his father, who cheated on his mom or whatever. And his grandpa's also like a bit of a creep, like he's an old man creep. Alfie's all like, oh my God, we need to treat women with respect. We need to treat women with respect. And then in the end, he falls for the prostitute because he wants to feel like her hero. He gets like this knight in shining armor syndrome where he wants to be like her hero and he wants to save her. He feels like she needs to be saved. And then she played into that. And then he ends up basically screwing over his mom by telling his mom that, oh yeah, I think my dad has changed, even though he really feels that he hasn't changed. But he tells his mom, yeah, dad's really changed. You should really talk to him, because his dad wanted him to do that. And in exchange, his dad sent him a bunch of money to send to the prostitute, which in turn, like, let's face it, Alfie just wanted to be with that girl. He just like, you know, was like so infatuated with her. And so his dad ended up sending him money to give to the prostitute because Alfie ended up basically lying to his mom about all these changes that his dad made or whatever. It's kind of similar to that storyline where he's acting like he's so much better than everybody else. His parents, like he's so much more woke, yet he is shallow and also objectifies women in a different way. Mm. Mm. Guys. I feel like I'm gonna eat this all. I just almost choked on camera. So that's what I like. What else did I like? I also liked Belinda's storyline. So Belinda's the lady that was in season 1 who basically got screwed over by Tanya. Because Tanya latched on to Belinda, who worked at the hotel, you know, because she has money, she can like latch onto her, use her for all her services. And she was like, oh yeah, I want to open a spa with you. She starts saying all these promises, and in the end she like didn't do it because she met a man. And I like the storyline of Belinda in that. So she runs into Greg, right? She runs into Greg, who is, I mean, guys, if you have watched the show, so I feel like I don't need to explain it. But just a recap. So in season 2, Tanya is married to Greg, and then Greg basically kind of like kills Tanya. Okay? Not directly, but kind of indirectly. So Tanya gets killed, and then in season 3, you're introduced to Greg again, but he is going by a different name, and he like lives near the hotel of the White Lotus, which by the way is also like a bit of a plot, what's the term? I feel like this part is a little bit like nonsensical. The fact that, okay, so Greg, he's like kind of on the run, right? Because he like killed Tanya essentially. People are suspicious of him. So he went to Thailand to kind of hide out. He clearly like changed his name and everything. So why are you hanging out at the White Lotus? This is a chain hotel. Like, I don't know. It seems a little whatever. It's fine. So Belinda sees him at the White Lotus in season 3, and she was like, oh my God, I recognize that guy. And she looks him up, realizes that Tanya was killed, and he's basically like wanted for her murder. And essentially Greg is like, hey, I'm gonna give you money to keep your mouth shut. How much would do? And then her son basically negotiates and gets them $5 million. And Belinda, who was making this like very strong connection with Porn Chai, who was also working at the resort, Porn Chai had initially said, hey, how about we open up a spa together? Belinda at the end is basically like, hey, I actually don't think we can open up a spa. I gotta leave. I gotta go back to America. And she just ditches and goes. And then the final scene of Belinda being on that boat and like basically leaving with all her new money with $5 million extra in her bank account. And then Porn Chai was just standing there waving to the boat, which is basically what they were doing in season 1, right? That's like basically the same scene as season 1, except for it's flipped. So I thought that storyline was pretty good. I did enjoy that one. I don't know how I feel about the 3 women. I really don't know how I feel about the 3 women. I think I liked the way that they built up the story of them kind of like talking shit about each other and just like this rivalry among the friends. I know like people loved what's her face's monologue. Is it Lori? Is that her name? They loved her monologue at the very end on that last episode. Personally, I wasn't like hugely blown away. I was blown away by her acting. I thought her acting was amazing. But like the monologue was kind of like, I don't know. Maybe I'm not artsy enough. It just, again, didn't feel believable. I don't know. I didn't know how I felt about the monologue. I didn't necessarily hate it. But I wasn't like, oh my God, revolutionary, you know? This is the one storyline where I'm like, I'm not sure if I liked the storyline or if I didn't like the storyline. And I also don't know if I liked the way it ended. Some people are saying it's a very realistic portrayal of friendships, like long friendships. You tend to kind of like go through ups and downs, and you tend to like, you know, judge each other and not like each other for a bit and, you know, go back and forth, but really like, you know, still sticking together throughout all this time. Some people liked that and some people thought that was a bit toxic. I'm kind of on the fence here. I don't know about this one. I'm really not sure. I did enjoy the whole conversation when they find out what's her face is a Trumpy. I thought that was a really realistic and well done scene. I really liked that scene. Now let's get back to the things I didn't like because I got a huge list. Okay, so let's talk about Rick and Chelsea. I know people like love Chelsea and like so sad that she died. Like I just did not like this whole storyline from the very beginning to the very end. I did not like it at all. Maybe because I thought Rick was just this miserable prick. And Chelsea was like, the entire season was just her obsessing over Rick and saying that they're soulmates and they're tied together. And I'm like, okay, bitch, why? Why do you feel that way? He's literally miserable. He hates his life. Like, just let him be, okay? And she's like obsessing over him and like constantly asking him, what's wrong? Why won't you open up? Why are you not talking? Why are you not talking? And he's just like, oh, my dad's dead. Like, fuck. And then the whole like, okay, he goes to Bangkok. It was very anticlimactic. He meets his friend who goes on this weird monologue about how he loves Asian girls. And so he became an Asian girl so that he could get fucked like an Asian girl. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on here? I felt like it was just weird for the sake of being weird. And I was just like, what? Anyway, it was an artistic choice. I guess I'll leave it at that. I just didn't like the way that they did the whole thing. And it was very painfully obvious that Yeah, he was the dad, okay? So basically, Rick's dad died, supposedly. His mom told him that his dad died before he was born and that somebody killed him. So this person, first of all, that also makes no fucking sense. Like, why would your mom tell you that? That's such a stupid lie. Like, I don't even understand why that would even be a lie to begin with, whatever. So his mom, I guess, told him that so-and-so killed your dad and that's why you never met your dad. And then she tells him the name of the guy that killed his dad. And this happens to be the husband of the owner of the White Lotus in Thailand, who is this like random white man, okay? So he's living in Bangkok with the owner of the White Lotus. That's his wife. And so then Rick goes and like chases after him and like finds him in his house, somehow like lies his way into his house. And then he confronts this man and is like, hey, you killed my dad. Like, you fucked over my life, me. Pushes him in his chair, doesn't do anything else, leaves, decides to go back to the hotel and spend another lovely day there because, you know, it's not like it's owned by the guy that you just harassed his wife. He looks like he's, you know, he's gotten a bit better. Like, he feels better. He's like, oh my God, like, I love you, Chelsea, like me. And then the old man shows up and then Rick gets pissed off, takes a gun and starts shooting the old man, killing him. And then when he's dead, the old man's wife is like, hey, he is your father. First of all, like so many people already were like, yeah, that's gonna be the father. Okay, that is definitely the father. It was a very obvious, not so subtle sort of twist, okay? Oh, another thing I really didn't like, hotel manager. Again, this adds to the whole like lack of comedy aspect. Maybe they were trying to make this hotel manager funny in season 3, but I was not getting it. I didn't feel like he added anything to the storyline. I felt like his character was super random and just like, I didn't really understand his character and the purpose of his character. He was just kind of there doing random, weird, cringy things that, in my opinion, wasn't that funny. He was like, oh my God, I really want to sing in front of the audience. And then he does it and it's like a big deal. And then he like does it and like, that's it. Everyone's like, okay, cool. Okay. Whereas, okay, in seasons 1 and 2, the hotel managers really made the season so great, so funny and so well done. You see the power dynamics and the changes in power dynamics and just everything was so well done with hotel managers in the first 2 seasons. And this one was just disappointing to say the least. Oh, and okay, I gotta get back to the whole family story for a second here. I think this might have been my least favorite part of this entire season was the storyline with Saxon and Lachlan. They were teasing this like incestuous storyline where these 2 brothers are like wanting to bang or something. They were teasing that for multiple episodes. And then they went on this party bender in the full moon party, which by the way, I've been to. A bit crazy over there. They go to this full moon party. They get super high and drunk. Saxon's like, I don't really want to do drugs. And Lachlan's like, come on, let's do some MDMA. So they pop some pills. And then they get super drunk and wasted, whatever. And then Lachlan like jerks his brother off. Like, that happened. And then to wrap that storyline up, they have this very weird conversation where Saxon's like, hey, I know you like worship me because you're like my little brother, but like, don't worship me. God, great writing, by the way. Ugh. And then Lachlan's like, hey, well, you know, you really like to get off. You know, you really like to get off. So I just thought like, I'd give you the chance to get off. What? You really like to get off. And, you know, that's all you really care about. So I thought I would do you a favor and get you off. What? Like, are you okay? He's like, oh yeah, it's because I'm a people pleaser. that's why I got you off. Like, that's why I gave you a hand job. Like, what? We're supposed to believe that? What do you mean? You teased this whole incestuous storyline, basically like making it seem as though like Lachlan was like in love with his brother, only to end it like, no, actually Lachlan's just a people pleaser. What the fucking hell is this shit? And then I guess we have the whole story of, God, what is his name? Not Mook. The guy, the security guard guy. Guy Talk. Okay. So we have that whole storyline with Guy Talk, and he's like, oh my God, he's trying to be good. He's trying to be good. He's trying to be good. And then he sees the whole robbery thing. The robbery thing was also just very like, almost anticlimactic. Like it was very like, oh, okay, it was the Russians. Okay. Security guard Guy Talk is like obsessed with Mook, who is Lisa from Blackpink, which is a K-pop group, if you did not know. And that whole storyline was also very like, oh my God, Mook, I'm in love with you. I'm in love with you. And then Mook's like, oh my God, but like, don't you want to be like successful? And like, don't you want to just like, you know, kill somebody? Hold on one second. What is this? Hello? This is not David, sorry. You've got the wrong number. That's okay. Bye-bye. They were looking for David. The whole storyline with Mook and Guy Talk, again, just kind of a snooze fest, to be honest. He's like obsessed with Mook. They're going out on a few dates. Later, it turns out Mook's a little bit of a, little cray-cray. She likes the guys to be all like tough and let me just kill a few bitches and let me do all this crazy shit. And that's what she like likes. And then in the end, he ends up doing that. He kills Rick. And then he gets the promotion. I mean, that one, I felt like it was a bit of a snooze fest of a storyline, but ultimately it was an okay storyline, I guess. It kind of went nowhere with the Russians. I think the whole point of the Russian robbery thing, it was supposed to test Guy Talk's, morality maybe. Is he going to rat on the Russians? But then also like, what was the point of that? Because the thing is, it's not like he'll lose his job if he rats on the Russians. The good thing for him to do, the honest, truthful thing for him to do is to tell them it was the Russians because one of the Russian guys worked for the White Lotus. So it would have been like the right thing to do to say, hey, those Russians were stealing money from you or stealing shit from you. Anyway, that storyline was honestly a bit of a snooze fest. I don't really understand the point of it. I know it was trying to, show Guy Talk's kind of dilemma with trying to be good, but also wanting to impress, the love of his life, who only showed him interest after he fucking killed somebody, which is also kind of fucking weird, but whatever. All right. Final bite of the red curry. Let's make it a good one. Woo! Overall, my main issue, I think, was that this season felt very kind of confused as to the central messaging. I feel like the other seasons did a much better job at having somewhat of a centralized theme and having most of the storylines kind of fit within that theme in a different way. For example, like season 1, the season 1 theme was basically rich people, and then the service workers, the hotel staff, the not so rich, not so privileged people. It was this kind of conflict between the privileged and the not so privileged. And it's showcasing the different ways in which the privileged people kind of benefit from and take from the underprivileged. And it was really showcased in basically every storyline. You could see that that was kind of like the main centralized theme. You had the Tanya storyline with Belinda, where she was basically just relying on Belinda to give her everything while she needed it. And then she was promising Belinda she would do all this other stuff. And then as soon as she met some dude, she just runs off with him and just forgets about all the promises that she made to Belinda. And then we also have the dynamic of that family with the daughter that brought her friend Paula. This whole family is white. Paula is a person of color. And she is the entire season kind of playing this victim, right? She's like, oh, and this is also very similar to, I think Paula was a similar character to Piper in season 3. And is it Alfie? I think that was his name, Alfie, in season 2. So she was very much playing the whole, like, I'm woke, I'm a person of color, these white people don't understand their privilege, these white people don't care about you, these white people are colonizers. And then she kind of like likes this Hawaiian guy that she has a fling with for like the week that she's there. She basically convinces him to try and steal from the family that she came with. Like, hello, this family is literally giving you this fucking vacation. Like, come on, okay? And then she just gets to run off with them and go home. Like, she doesn't have to face any consequences for any of those actions, because she, even though she is a person of color, she's still a rich person. Like, she's still obviously friends with this other rich girl, and she's still benefiting from being rich. So like the whole storylines in both seasons, I felt like kind of tie together really well. And I felt like with season 3, it was kind of all over the place. I don't really see like a, centralized theme. I felt like with season 1, you had the whole dynamic of rich people taking advantage of the poor people, not just rich people, but people of different hierarchies, right? So you have the hotel manager that had to cater to the hotel guests that are all these rich people, but then the hotel manager also exploited his people that were working below him in his own way. So it was like, this whole like hierarchy, power dynamics, exploitation, all of those things were in season 1. And then ultimately in season 1, kind of the less privileged end up kind of worse off almost in most of the storylines. Season 2, you kind of see a little bit of a flip at the end there, where you have, for example, the prostitutes that get away with kind of scamming Alfie. She gets away with a bunch of money. The other girl, she gets the job at the hotel because she sleeps with the hotel manager. I just felt like in season 2 and 1, it was very well packaged. It was kind of like a more satisfying ending as well. The centralized themes were a little bit more obvious maybe. Season 3, I just don't think it was, but that's just my personal opinion. What do you guys think of White Lotus season 3? You let me know your thoughts. If you completely disagree with me, that's okay, okay? Let me know. What do you guys think? We're all gonna have different opinions, and that's fine. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Overall, I am glad I watched the season. I was always gonna watch it. I'm still gonna watch season 4, I'm sure. But I do think, in my opinion, this was the worst season. Okay, that's my personal view. In my mind, season 3 was the worst season. So not a huge fan compared to seasons 1 and 2. Yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I guess I couldn't finish it. I mean, I could finish it, but like my stomach will explode if I keep eating. So I'm gonna leave this for leftovers later. I love a good leftover, so that'll be for later. Get yourself some Thai food. Eat some delicious Thai food because it is so good. It's definitely not bland. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I will link my mukbang playlist below if you want to watch my previous mukbang videos. They will all be there. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!